Sour Patch Kids have been surprising our taste buds for years, with that sour kick followed by a sweet twist. But have they always been like this, or has something changed? Were they more sour before, or is it just our memories? Maybe it's our taste buds that have changed. Well, let's find out how Sour Patch Kids are made in a factory. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Process Powerhouse channel. Leave us a comment to let us know what mealtime favorites you'd like to see next. Just don't ask us for the recipe. We still can't get that sourness out of our mouths. Sour Patch Kids have a history as sweet and sour as the candy itself. They were originally called Mars Men when first made in 1979 by Johann's Confectionery. These sour treats were meant to be a fun twist on regular gummy candy, like a superhero in the candy world. But when Mars Men didn't quite catch on, maybe the name was too weird, the candy was given a new look and renamed Sour Patch Kids in the 1980s. The new name came from the Little Rascals, mischievous kids who were sweet one moment and causing trouble the next. They were like that friend who's fun at the party but might steal your fries when you're not looking. Who doesn't like a little mischief with their snacks? Sour Patch Kids hit the shelves and quickly became popular with both kids and adults because of their perfect mix of sour and sweet. It was like a candy roller coaster, no long lines or screaming, but you might make a sour face before the sweet part kicks in. And let's be honest, you've probably had a moment where you toss a handful in your mouth, hoping to find your favorite flavor. They were so bad, they were good. Over time, they've added new flavors, like blue raspberry, because why not? But let's face it, we're still fans of the original flavors. They're like classic rock in the candy world. They never go out of style. So, the sour coating? It's made from citric acid, which is what makes you pucker up like you've bitten into a lemon. It's a mix of sour and sweet all at once, but somehow we keep coming back for more because we'll take the sour to get to the sweet. After all, we live in a world where we willingly go for that sour kick in exchange for a quick sugar rush. So, next time you eat a Sour Patch Kid, just remember, it's not just a snack. It's a bit of candy history and a lot of flavor chaos. Embrace the sour, enjoy the sweet, and maybe share, or not, because we all know that one person who'll take the last one. And that's the sweet and sour history of Sour Patch Kids. Now, let's see how these little troublemakers are made. The journey of Sour Patch Kids starts with picking the best ingredients, each adding to the candy's unique taste and texture. The main ingredients, sugar, corn syrup, and gelatin, are the key parts of the candy. Sugar gives the sweetness that balances the sour flavor, making it taste sugary after the sour hit. Corn syrup gives the candy its chewy texture, making each Sour Patch Kid satisfying to bite into. Gelatin helps the candy hold its shape and keeps it soft but firm. This mix of softness and structure is what makes Sour Patch Kids so popular. Finally, food coloring is added to make the candy bright and colorful, so it's easy to spot on the store shelf. Getting high-quality citric acid is an important part of making the candy. Citric acid, usually from fruits like lemons and limes, is sometimes made in labs for larger batches to keep things the same every time. It's the key ingredient that gives Sour Patch Kids their strong sour taste, the kind that makes you pucker up right away. This sour coating is a big reason fans keep coming back, and it pairs perfectly with the candy's sweetness. The way the sourness hits first, then the sweetness follows, makes the candy stand out from others. For those who like a challenge, that first sour punch makes you want to grab another one. To make sure only the best ingredients are used, Sour Patch Kids are made with products from trusted suppliers who follow strict quality checks. These suppliers must ensure their ingredients meet high standards for taste, safety, and purity. For example, corn syrup has to meet specific sweetness levels to balance the flavors, and gelatin needs to be of the right grade to give the chewy texture. This attention to detail ensures every batch of Sour Patch Kids is the same. No matter when or where you buy them, they should always taste and feel the same. And that starts with using the best ingredients. When the ingredients arrive at the factory, they go through a series of tests to check that the flavor, texture, and quality are consistent. This is important because even small changes in ingredients can affect the candy. The process is very sensitive, so thorough testing ensures that every batch of Sour Patch Kids stays the same in taste and texture. This careful attention during the sourcing and testing stages makes sure that each bag of Sour Patch Kids you buy has the perfect mix of sweet, sour, and chewy goodness. After the ingredients are tested and ready, they are mixed into a smooth base. In big mixers, sugar, corn syrup, water, and gelatin are combined. The gelatin must fully dissolve to avoid any clumps that could mess up the candy's chewy texture. The mixture is then heated to the right temperature to make sure everything blends evenly. This step is important because if the heat is off, the texture could turn grainy or uneven, affecting the final candy. As the mixture heats up, candy makers slowly add flavorings and food coloring, which are key to both the taste and look of the candy. This is when Sour Patch Kids start to take shape. Each batch might have different flavors or colors, depending on the type of candy being made. For example, the red Sour Patch Kids taste like strawberry, while the green ones have a tangy lime flavor. These flavorings are chosen carefully to match the sour coating and make sure the candy tastes great and gives a balanced, enjoyable experience. Adding food coloring at this stage is important to give Sour Patch Kids their bright, bold colors. The colors are carefully measured to get the right look. If too much is used, the candies could look too colorful, while too little might make them look dull. Finding the right balance is important to make sure each Sour Patch Kid looks as good as it tastes. The goal of this mixing process is to make a smooth mixture that can easily be poured into molds. It needs to be just the right thickness, not too thick, which would make it hard to pour, and not too thin, which could stop the candy from setting right. Getting the consistency just right is what gives Sour Patch Kids their smooth, chewy texture and bright color that people love. Once the candy mixture is ready, it's poured into molds made of metal or silicone to keep them strong and precise. These molds shape the candy into the famous kid figure, and a light layer of cornstarch is added to stop the candy from sticking. This cornstarch coating helps the candy come out of the mold once it's cooled and firmed up. Shaping the candy is an important step because it ensures each Sour Patch Kid is the same size and shape in every batch. After the candy mixture is poured into molds, it's left to cool and harden. This can take a few hours or up to a day, depending on how thick the candy is. During this time, the candy gets its chewy texture and the kid shape forms. The cooling process is important because it allows the gelatin to set and the candy to firm up. If it cools too quickly or isn't given enough time, the candy might not be as chewy or may not hold its shape properly, so the timing is crucial. As the candy cools, it's carefully watched to make sure it reaches the right texture. The gelatin works during this time to give the candy its chewy feel. At this point, the candy is still plain and waiting to become the sweet and sour treat we know. Workers regularly check to make sure the candy is setting properly and not sticking. Once it's fully cooled, the Sour Patch Kids are carefully taken out of the molds. With the cornstarch helping them come out easily, the candies are still a little soft and sticky, but now look like the fun shapes we recognize. What really makes Sour Patch Kids different from other candies is their unique sour sugar coating. Once the candy is molded and shaped, it's moved to big tumbling machines where it gets covered in a mix of sugar and citric acid. The citric acid is key to giving the candy its signature sour taste, making your mouth pucker with that burst of tartness as soon as you take a bite. The sour sugar is applied generously, making sure each candy is fully coated with the tangy mix. The tumbling process is key to making sure the sour coating is spread evenly. As the candies rotate in the tumbling drum, every side gets covered in sour sugar, so no piece is missed. The right amount of sour sugar is very important. Too little, and the candy won't be sour enough. Too much, and it could cover up the sweetness. Getting this balance right is tricky, so the team has to be careful to make sure each candy has the right mix of sour and sweet. Citric acid does more than just make the candy sour. It also leaves a tangy aftertaste that sticks around after the sweetness fades, giving you a two-step flavor experience. This mix of sweet and sour is what makes Sour Patch Kids so hard to resist. The sour sugar coating is the candy's signature feature, and without it, Sour Patch Kids wouldn't be as exciting. After coating the candies, any extra sour sugar is shaken off, and they're left to cool and dry. This helps the sour sugar stay on properly and keeps the candies looking fresh and bright. After the sour sugar is added, the Sour Patch Kids go through a drying and cooling process to make sure they keep their chewy texture. If they're not dried correctly, the coating could get sticky, and the candies might stick together, ruining the quality. This stage also gives the gelatin more time to set, so each piece stays chewy and satisfying, just like fans expect. Without this step, the candy wouldn't have its usual texture. The drying happens in special rooms or machines that control the temperature and humidity to make sure the candies dry evenly. These rooms and machines help keep the candies from becoming too soft or too hard. The candies are carefully checked during this time to make sure they stay chewy. If they hold too much moisture, they get too soft, but drying them too much makes them tough and less enjoyable. This step needs to be done just right to get the perfect texture for Sour Patch Kids. During drying, the candies are rotated and mixed regularly to stop them from sticking together. If they start clumping, workers step in to separate them by hand. This extra care keeps the candy's shape and quality intact, making sure no Sour Patch Kid gets stuck or loses its signature form. The candies are closely watched to make sure they stay fresh and chewy, without becoming too sticky or too dry. Once the drying is done, the Sour Patch Kids are firm, chewy, and perfectly flavored, ready for the final check before they're sent out to consumers. Quality control is key to making sure Sour Patch Kids stay consistent and high quality. After drying and cooling, the candies are checked carefully to ensure they meet standards for size, shape, flavor, and look. Both machines and people help with this process to catch any flaws. Machines are set to find any size issues and quickly separate candies that don't meet the right measurements. Human workers also check the candies by hand to make sure they have the right sour sugar coating and aren't broken or misshapen. This inspection helps spot any small flaws that machines might miss. Inspectors look for things like uneven coating or small shape issues. If anything is wrong, those candies are thrown out or sent back to be fixed. The quality control process also checks that the sour coating is consistent. Sour Patch Kids are known for their perfect balance of sour and sweet, so it's important that every candy has the right amount of sour coating. If some candies are too sour or not sour enough, they are removed to keep the flavor the same. This step helps make sure each batch is just as good as the last. Once the Sour Patch Kids pass the visual inspection and quality checks, they're ready for packaging. This step makes sure every bag has candies that look and taste just right. Consistency in shape, size, and flavor is important because fans expect the same great experience every time. After passing quality control, Sour Patch Kids move on to packaging. Each candy is weighed and portioned to make sure every bag has the right amount. Packaging machines fill bags with Sour Patch Kids, checking the weight for accuracy. The bags are then sealed to keep them fresh and prevent air or moisture from getting in. Proper sealing is important because the air can change the candy's texture and make them lose their chewy bite. The packaging process also makes sure Sour Patch Kids stand out. The bags are printed with bright, fun designs that make them easy to spot on store shelves. These bold designs attract customers and highlight the candy's playful vibe. Each bag is sealed tightly to keep the candy fresh, so when you open it, the Sour Patch Kids taste just as fresh and flavorful as when they were made. The bags also play an important role in protecting the candy during transport and storage. Since Sour Patch Kids are gummy and a bit sticky, the packaging needs to be strong enough to keep them from getting damaged or sticking together. The bags are made to handle shipping and keep the sour coating intact. They also help keep moisture out, which could cause the candy to clump or lose its texture. Once sealed and packed, the Sour Patch Kids are ready to be sent to warehouses. From there, they start their journey to stores, making sure they're always available for you to grab whenever you want a quick, sour treat. Once the Sour Patch Kids are packaged, they're ready to head to warehouses across the country. The candy is loaded into large containers and shipped by truck to different distribution centers. This process is key to getting the candy to stores everywhere. From the warehouses, the candy is sorted and sent to stores, so it's available at your local grocery store, convenience store, or candy aisle. At the warehouses, Sour Patch Kids are kept in temperature-controlled rooms to keep them fresh. Sour candy can be affected by heat or humidity, which can change its texture or cause it to clump. To prevent this, the temperature and humidity are carefully controlled, keeping the candy in the best condition. This storage ensures that Sour Patch Kids stay as fresh as when they first left the factory. Once the candy arrives at the warehouse, it's organized based on where it's needed. For example, if a store needs more Sour Patch Kids for a busy time like Halloween, staff will gather the right amount and get them ready for shipping. This system makes sure stores always have enough Sour Patch Kids, no matter the season. Once everything is sorted, it's ready to be sent to stores, so it stays fresh for you to enjoy. Sour Patch Kids are popular because of their mix of sour and sweet flavors, which make them stand out and keep people coming back. The sour burst followed by the sweet taste creates a fun and exciting flavor that sets them apart from other candies. Over time, the brand has added new flavors while keeping the classic taste fans love. The fun branding, chewy texture, and bright colors also make them a treat that's not only tasty but also looks great. Sour Patch Kids stay popular because they focus on consistency and quality. From testing ingredients to carefully making each batch, every piece gives the same great experience. This reliability has helped keep fans loyal. The brand also stays fresh by using new marketing ideas and connecting with fans, which keeps things exciting. In short, Sour Patch Kids remain popular because they've perfected making candy that's both classic and fun. Stick around, there's even more exciting moments and processes coming up next. Hummus has been around for over 7,000 years, but it still feels like a new snack. Pretty wild, right? The funny thing is, even though hummus is so popular, there's still a lot of debate about where it really comes from. Some say it's from the Levant, others think it's from Egypt. Everyone has their own take. Well, let's find out how hummus is made in a factory. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Process Powerhouse channel. Leave us a comment to let us know what mealtime favorites you'd like to see next. Who knows, maybe one day they'll find a jar of hummus so old it has its own fan club. Hummus, the smooth dip that's taken over the world, has a rich and mysterious history. People argue about where it comes from, with claims from both the Levant, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Palestine, and Egypt. Some say it's been around since the 13th century, while others believe it's even older. No matter who's claiming it, one thing is clear. Hummus has been around long enough to stir up some family rivalry. Now, it's so popular that it's not just a dip, it's a symbol of Middle Eastern cuisine. The world loves hummus, but ask any local, and they'll say they have the real recipe. Every great dish has its own story. Imagine it's the Middle Ages, and cooks are arguing over who made the best chickpea paste. The Levant and Egypt both claim they invented hummus, each saying, "We did it first." It wasn't about creating something fancy, just chickpeas, tahini, garlic, lemon, and olive oil. Back then, hummus was considered simple peasant food, but today it's a global snack. Picture a time when hummus was just a humble dish in homes, with no influencers making it a trend. Yet somehow, the simple chickpea became a star, turning from a peasant's dish into a luxury snack, one $12 tub at a time. The word hummus comes from the Arabic word for chickpeas, hummus, which makes sense because it literally tells you what the dish is, mainly chickpeas. Ancient food creators didn't bother with fancy names, they just called it what it was. Imagine if modern food names were that simple. Bacon bits, pasta with sauce, or even the sandwich. Pretty straightforward, right? There's something charming about it. Over time, hummus's ingredients have stayed mostly the same, which is both impressive and comforting. It's like that classic family recipe that's always been perfect. In a world where food trends change all the time, it's nice to know some things stay reliably delicious. Then there's the 2008 hummus showdown, when Lebanon and Israel both claim to have made the world's largest serving of hummus. Imagine a huge bowl the size of a pool, filled with creamy chickpea goodness, surrounded by thousands of people with pita and spoons. It wasn't just a fun event, it was a hummus battle. Both sides claimed to win, and hummus became a symbol of unity. As the world watched, it was clear. Hummus wasn't just food. It brought people together and maybe even helped settle some old debates. Enough history. Let's take a look inside the factory. The first step in making hummus is getting the best ingredients. The main ingredient is the chickpea, also known as a garbanzo bean. Chickpeas grow in places with good climates for legumes, like the Middle East, India, Turkey, Egypt, and California in the United States. The growing process can differ by region, but all chickpeas used for hummus are carefully checked for quality. In the factory, the type of chickpea chosen depends on the texture and flavor the final product needs. Some chickpeas are bigger and rounder, while others are smaller and more irregular, and these differences affect the hummus's texture. Chickpeas come in both dried and canned forms, but dried chickpeas are more often used in commercial hummus because they're cheaper. For dried chickpeas, the first step is a thorough cleaning to remove dirt, debris, and stones. This is important because any imperfections can affect the quality of the hummus. After cleaning, chickpeas are either soaked or cooked, depending on the brand's method. Soaking makes dried chickpeas softer and easier to blend into a smooth, creamy texture. Tahini is the next key ingredient and helps give hummus its smooth, rich flavor. Made from ground sesame seeds, tahini comes from places with a long history of growing sesame, like the Middle East, Mediterranean countries, Lebanon, Turkey, Greece, and parts of Asia. The sesame seeds are harvested, roasted, and ground into a thick paste, then processed to remove extra oils, creating a balanced product. The quality of tahini can vary a lot. Some brands use premium tahini, which is smoother, creamier, and more flavorful, while others use a simpler, cheaper version that can result in less complex flavor. Olive oil is an important ingredient in making hummus, helping to make it smooth and flavorful. It adds a light, fruity taste and improves the creamy texture. Extra virgin olive oil, the highest quality, is usually chosen for its mild flavor and smoothness. Olive oil mostly comes from Mediterranean countries like Spain, Italy, and Greece, which have a long history of olive oil production. These countries grow many types of olives, each with its own unique flavor. The olive harvest is an important part of making olive oil because it affects the quality for the whole year. Lemon juice, garlic, and salt complete the flavor of hummus. Lemons are grown in many parts of the world, especially in Mediterranean countries and places with subtropical climates. Fresh lemon juice is best because it adds a tangy, refreshing taste. Garlic is also important and is usually chopped fresh before being added. The amount of garlic can vary, but it's generally used in small amounts so it doesn't overpower the dish. Finally, salt brings out the flavors of the other ingredients and balances the richness of the tahini and olive oil. When the chickpeas arrive at the factory, they go through a careful sorting and preparation process before being used in the hummus. The quality of the chickpeas is important for getting the right texture and flavor. First, the chickpeas are checked to remove any dirt, stones, or broken ones. Machines, like vibrating screens, are used to make sure only good chickpeas are selected. Each chickpea is carefully inspected by hand or machine to ensure there are no flaws in the batch. After the chickpeas are sorted, they go through a soaking process. If they are dried chickpeas, they are placed in large water tanks for 8 to 12 hours, depending on their size and type. Soaking has two main purposes. It softens the chickpeas, making them easier to cook, and it removes some of the sugars that can cause digestive discomfort. This step is important for getting smooth, creamy hummus. If the chickpeas are too firm, the hummus will be rough, and if they are over-soaked, they can become mushy and hard to work with. Once the chickpeas are soaked, they are drained and moved to large pressure cookers. This method helps cook them faster and evenly, which is important for getting a consistent texture. The cooking time can vary, but it usually takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour for the chickpeas to become soft and tender. The goal is to cook them just right, soft enough to blend into a smooth paste, but firm enough to hold their shape during processing. In some factories, pre-cooked chickpeas are used to keep the process consistent. These chickpeas are purchased in bulk, cooked, and then frozen for later use. Using pre-cooked chickpeas helps save time and energy during production. However, it's important that the chickpeas are properly thawed and reheated before blending to make sure the final product has the right texture. After the chickpeas are prepared, cooled, and checked for quality, they're ready to be blended into the hummus base. After the chickpeas are prepared, the next important step is blending and mixing. The goal is to create the smooth, creamy texture that makes hummus so great. The chickpeas are blended into a paste using large industrial food processors. These machines break down the chickpeas into a smooth, velvety consistency, making sure there are no lumps. The processors have sharp blades and strong motors to ensure an even blend, and operators watch closely to make sure the paste is the right texture. Once the chickpea paste is ready, tahini is added. The right amount of tahini is important because it gives hummus its creamy texture and flavor. Too much tahini can make it bitter, while too little can make it bland and less smooth. Manufacturers use precise measurements and the experience of their workers to get the perfect balance. The tahini is mixed well with the chickpeas to make sure the paste is smooth and consistent. Next, lemon juice, garlic, and salt are added to the mix to boost the flavor. Fresh lemon juice gives a tangy kick that balances the rich taste of tahini and olive oil, while garlic adds a savory depth. The garlic is carefully measured to keep it from overpowering the other flavors. Salt is added to bring everything together and enhance the taste. The exact amounts of each ingredient depend on the brand's recipe and the batch size. Finally, olive oil is added to make the hummus smooth and creamy. It helps give the hummus a rich texture, making it easier to spread and more enjoyable. The olive oil is slowly mixed in, so it blends well with the tahini and chickpeas to create a silky texture. Some manufacturers may even add a little extra olive oil on top to give the hummus a shiny finish before packaging. Once everything is mixed, the hummus is tasted to make sure it meets the right flavor and texture. Before the hummus is packaged and shipped, it goes through a strict quality check. This makes sure each batch meets the brand's standards for taste, texture, and safety. One of the first steps is taste testing, where experts try a sample from each batch. They check that the hummus has the right mix of creamy, nutty, tangy, and savory flavors. If it doesn't meet the standards, changes are made to the recipe, like adding more lemon juice, garlic, or olive oil. Along with taste testing, the hummus is also checked for texture to make sure it's the right thickness. Hummus should be smooth, creamy, and easy to spread without being too runny or too stiff. This is checked by looking at it, testing by hand, and sometimes using tools that measure how thick it is. The hummus should flow smoothly off a spoon. If any batch doesn't meet these standards, adjustments are made before moving forward. Food safety is a top priority during quality control. Since hummus spoils easily, it is tested for harmful bacteria like Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli. Each batch is sent to a lab for testing to check for contamination. If any harmful bacteria are found, the batch is thrown out, and the factory looks into where the problem came from to prevent it from happening again. It's important to make sure hummus is safe since it's eaten by many people. Once the hummus passes the tests, it moves to packaging. This is the final step before it reaches consumers, and it helps keep the hummus fresh. The packaging materials are chosen to protect the product and keep it safe to eat. Containers, whether plastic tubs, glass jars, or other types, are cleaned before being filled with hummus to avoid contamination. After filling, the containers are sealed to keep the hummus fresh and prevent it from spoiling. Once the hummus passes quality control, it's ready for packaging, which helps keep it fresh and appealing. In large factories, packaging is usually done automatically. The containers, made of plastic, glass, or sometimes eco-friendly materials, are first cleaned to prevent contamination. This is done by using high-temperature steam or UV light to make sure the containers are free from bacteria before they are filled with hummus. Next, the hummus is carefully spooned into containers. In big factories, automated machines do this, making sure each container gets the right amount of hummus. The machines are designed to fill the containers without spilling or overfilling, and they can fill thousands of containers every hour. Even with machines, workers are there to watch over the process and make sure everything goes smoothly. After the hummus is put into containers, the lids are added and sealed to keep it fresh. Many companies use vacuum sealing or airtight lids to keep the hummus safe from spoilage and maintain its quality longer. Some may even add a thin layer of olive oil on top to make it look nicer and protect it from air, which could dry it out. This shiny finish helps the hummus look more appealing on store shelves. The packaging process also includes adding labels with important details like ingredients, nutrition facts, allergen warnings, and expiration dates. The labels are carefully placed to make sure the information is clear, accurate, and meets local rules. The labels are often designed to catch the eye, using bright colors and pictures of fresh ingredients like chickpeas, olive oil, and lemon to attract customers. The packaging design also helps each hummus brand stand out, reflecting its values, whether it's organic, gluten-free, or made with premium ingredients. Once the hummus is packaged, it's ready to be sent to distribution centers. Because it's perishable, it needs to be stored and transported in special conditions to stay fresh. The packaged hummus is stored in refrigerated units in warehouses, kept at a steady temperature of 34 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 to 4 degrees Celsius, to maintain its texture and flavor while preventing spoilage. Warehouses are big, temperature-controlled spaces that store products from different food makers. They have tracking systems to monitor the temperature and humidity. When lots of hummus is stored, it's arranged in pallets to make it easier to handle and ship. Warehouses also use inventory systems to keep track of how many hummus containers are available, ensuring they send out the right amount to meet demand. Once the hummus is stored, it's ready to be shipped to distribution centers. Special refrigerated trucks are used to transport the hummus, keeping it at the right temperature so it doesn't spoil during the journey. Distribution centers are key in the next step, where they receive the hummus from the manufacturer and send it to grocery stores or other retail locations. Distributing hummus is a detailed process. Distribution centers receive shipments from different factories, sort the products, and prepare them for delivery to stores. They work closely with retailers to keep the shelves stocked with fresh hummus. During busy times, like holidays or summer, when people eat more hummus, distribution becomes even more important, and extra shipments may be needed. Timely delivery is key to making sure customers get fresh, high-quality hummus. Hummus is popular all over the world because it's so versatile. You can use it as a dip, spread, or add it to dishes like wraps, bowls, or salads. It's a favorite snack for many people. Whether with pita bread, fresh veggies, or on sandwiches, its flexibility makes it a go-to option, and you can easily change up the flavor to suit any taste. Hummus has become even more popular because of the rise in healthy eating. It's full of protein, fiber, and important nutrients, making it a great choice for people looking for plant-based, gluten-free, or dairy-free foods. It also fits well with the growing interest in Mediterranean diets, which focus on fresh veggies, legumes, and healthy fats. Another reason hummus is so popular is because it fits well with Mediterranean and Middle Eastern diets, which focus on fresh, healthy ingredients. As more people are interested in these diets, the demand for hummus grows. Hummus offers a wide range of flavors, from the classic taste to new ones like roasted red pepper, sriracha, or avocado, keeping it exciting on store shelves. This variety lets people try new things while still enjoying the original flavor they love. Finally, hummus's long history and simple, tasty ingredients have helped it stay popular. With roots going back centuries, it's loved by many cultures for its authentic flavor and the way it brings people together. Its versatility, health benefits, and cultural importance make it a classic food that will continue to be a favorite for years. Stick around, there's even more exciting moments and processes coming up next. Isn't it funny how something so small can bring so much joy? Maltesers have been making us smile for years, crispy, chocolatey, and always just right. But what's their secret? Is it the crunch, the smooth chocolate, or the memories they bring, movie nights, sneaky handfuls, and sharing with friends? Well, let's find out how Maltesers are made in a factory. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Process Powerhouse channel. Leave us a comment to let us know what mealtime favorites you'd like to see next. And hey, maybe one day they'll uncover a bag of Maltesers from the past, still as perfect as the first bite. Maltesers, those tasty little chocolate-covered balls, have a history almost as sweet as their taste. They were first introduced in 1937 by Mars, right when the world was facing a chocolate shortage because of World War II. Instead of sticking to their usual treats, the folks at Mars decided to create something light, crunchy, and a bit different. Thus, Maltesers were born. They weren't just another chocolate, they were something special, made to stand out in a time when choices were few. If chocolate had a VIP club, Maltesers would be the guest of honor. They were marketed as a lighter chocolate treat, which was a smart move. Who doesn't feel a little better about snacking when you can tell yourself it's lighter? As if a few hundred Maltesers don't count toward your snack quota. The best part was that it wasn't just clever marketing. The airy malted center actually made them feel less heavy than regular chocolate bars. It was like the perfect treat, guilt-free, or at least a little less guilty. The name came from malt, which gives that crispy crunch, and teasers. Because, let's be real, trying to eat just one Malteser is nearly impossible. If you've ever had that one friend who finishes the bag before the movie ends, you get why teasers fits so well. Over the years, Maltesers became a popular classic with an interesting twist. In the 1970s, they were actually marketed as a diet chocolate. It was the time of eat less, weigh less. And for a short while, Maltesers were the go-to treat for people watching their weight. Of course, that was probably before we realized eating a whole bag might not exactly make us lighter. But who's counting? We all know the truth. Just because something's lighter in texture doesn't mean you can't eat a ton of it. It was a clever marketing trick that worked, letting us enjoy our favorite snack while feeling like we were being sensible. Maltesers made us think we could treat ourselves without the guilt. Today, Maltesers are more popular than ever. They've become so well known that they're a part of pop culture. If you're watching a movie, there's a good chance a bag of Maltesers is nearby. They've gone from a wartime snack to a regular in snack aisles everywhere. And let's be honest, who hasn't secretly hoped to find the perfect Malteser at the bottom of the bag? The one that's just the right size and perfectly round, waiting to be the last bite of happiness? Maltesers have stood the test of time, becoming more than just a snack. They're now part of everyday life. Just like popcorn at the movies, we've come to expect Maltesers to be there, ready to satisfy our sweet cravings. Next time you pop a Malteser into your mouth, remember, you're not just enjoying a piece of chocolate, you're indulging in a snack with a rich, and surprisingly light, history. And as they say, some things only get better with time. Even if they're still as tasty as ever, it's like the treat that never gets old. Always the perfect mix of crunchy and creamy, no matter the decade. Whether you're enjoying an old favorite or sharing it with a new generation, one thing's for sure, Maltesers are here to stay. Enough history. Let's take a look inside the factory. Every Malteser starts with sourcing the best ingredients, like malted barley, sugar, cocoa, and milk powder. The malted barley is especially important because it gives Maltesers their crispy, airy texture. Mars works with trusted farmers to make sure they get the best barley, partnering with suppliers around the world to meet high-quality standards. This attention to detail makes sure that every Malteser has that satisfying crunch. Without the right barley, the crispy melt-in-your-mouth texture that makes Maltesers special wouldn't be the same. It's not just about the barley. Cocoa, which gives the rich chocolate coating, comes from places like West Africa and South America. Mars makes sure their cocoa is responsibly sourced from farms that follow ethical practices. They only work with suppliers who meet fair trade standards or similar certifications. This ensures cocoa farmers get a fair wage and supports eco-friendly farming, like reducing deforestation and using fewer pesticides. Mars also invests in projects that help farmers improve their productivity and lives, making the cocoa supply chain more sustainable. Milk powder is another key ingredient, adding the creamy richness that pairs perfectly with the crunchy malt. Mars makes sure to get high-quality milk from trusted dairies to keep the taste and texture consistent. The milk used in Maltesers has to meet strict standards to make sure the final product tastes just right. Mars also considers how the ingredients are packaged, transported, and handled to reduce their environmental impact. For example, they work on lowering the carbon footprint of their supply chain, aiming to make Maltesers with the least impact on the environment while maintaining top quality. Sustainability goes beyond just sourcing ingredients. Mars is working on improving packaging to reduce waste and make it more recyclable. Their goal is to make all packaging recyclable or reusable by 2025. It's not just about making a great chocolate treat. It's about making sure future generations can enjoy Maltesers in a sustainable world. This approach helps Maltesers stay a delicious snack while protecting the planet's future. The heart of Maltesers is their malted center. The process starts by turning malted barley into malted milk powder, which gives them their crispy texture. First, the barley is roasted to bring out its rich flavor. This step is key because it adds the unique taste that makes Maltesers special. It's like slow cooking a stew. The longer you roast the barley, the richer the flavor gets. After roasting, the barley is ground into a fine powder, which is then mixed with milk powder, sugar, and other ingredients. This creates a dough-like mixture, and this is where the magic of Maltesers begins. The dough is carefully mixed to make sure all the ingredients are spread evenly. This step is important because even a small change in the mixture can affect the final texture. The dough needs to be just right, too thick, and it becomes heavy, too thin, and it loses its crispness. Once it's perfectly mixed, it's fed into a machine that shapes it into small, round pieces. This process ensures every Malteser is the perfect size for a bite-sized snack. It's a careful step where attention to detail is key to getting the right texture and shape. Next comes the puffing process. The malt mixture is heated and pressed, making it expand into light, airy balls. This step is key because it gives Maltesers their crispy texture. The result is a center that's not only crispy, but so light it melts in your mouth. The puffing process is tricky. Getting the right amount of heat and pressure ensures the malt isn't too dense or too airy. The result is a perfect mix of crunch and melt-in-your-mouth goodness. To get the perfect puff, the temperature and timing must be carefully controlled. Even a small change could make the batch too crunchy or too soft, so Mars uses advanced technology to keep it just right. The malted balls are then cooled before moving on to the next step, where they'll be coated in chocolate. Cooling is important because it stops them from melting or sticking together, making sure each piece stays separate and easy to handle. After the malt mixture is puffed and cooled, it's shaped into small, round balls. These little pieces are made to be the perfect size for a quick snack. The shaping process is done carefully to make sure each ball has the right size for that signature Malteser crunch. The balls need to be small enough to eat in one bite, but big enough to give a satisfying crunch. The uniform shape makes sure every piece has the same crispy texture every time. Once shaped, the malt balls are placed into a machine that pops them. This machine makes the balls bigger by expanding the malted dough, creating a lighter, crispier texture. This step gives Maltesers their unique, airy center. The process is carefully watched to make sure the balls don't get too big or lose their crunch. It's important to get the right balance to keep that perfect texture, which is why puffing is such a key part of making Maltesers. The expansion gives them their lightness, making Maltesers a one-of-a-kind snack. During this stage, the malt texture is tested regularly to make sure it's light and crispy. The goal is to make a treat that feels almost weightless, but still has that satisfying crunch. The expansion process isn't just about making them light. It's about getting the perfect texture that pairs well with the milk chocolate coating. After popping, the malt balls are cooled again to keep their shape before the chocolate coating. Cooling is important to stop the balls from getting too soft or melting before they're coated, so they stay crispy. Finally, the freshly popped malt balls are ready to be coated. Before they're dipped in chocolate, the quality control team checks them to make sure they're all the same. If any balls are the wrong shape, size, or texture, they're removed to keep everything perfect. This check makes sure only the best balls make it through, so every Malteser in the bag is a great mix of crispy malt and smooth chocolate. Now comes the fun part, the chocolate coating. The puffed malt balls move along a conveyor belt, passing through machines that coat them with a smooth layer of milk chocolate. This step is tricky because the goal is to give each ball a thin, even layer of chocolate, just enough to create a creamy outer shell that goes well with the crispy malt center. The process involves careful measurements to make sure the chocolate is perfectly tempered for that glossy, smooth finish. Mars uses a special method to temper the chocolate before putting it on the malt balls. This makes sure the chocolate has the right texture and shine. Tempering means carefully heating and cooling the chocolate to control the cocoa butter crystals. This gives the chocolate a shiny finish and a satisfying snap when you bite into it. The chocolate is then poured over the malt balls evenly, making sure each one is coated just right. This way, every bite tastes as good as the last. The coating machine makes sure each malt ball is fully covered in chocolate with no empty spots. The chocolate layer has to be just right. If it's too thick, the Maltesers lose their crunch. If it's too thin, the chocolate doesn't shine through. It's all about getting the right balance between the chocolate and malt to create the perfect taste and texture. Every piece that comes out is just right. After being coated, the Maltesers are gently shaken to get rid of any extra chocolate. Then they go through cooling. This helps the chocolate harden and gives it the right texture. Once cooled, they're checked to make sure every piece has the perfect mix of crispy malt and smooth chocolate. This attention to detail makes sure each Malteser is just as good from the first bite to the last. After the chocolate is applied, the Maltesers are cooled in a controlled room to help the chocolate harden properly. If it cools too fast, it might crack or look dull. And if it cools too slowly, it may lose its shiny finish. The cooling process is carefully timed to make sure each Malteser gets that perfect look and feel, like letting a painting dry at the right pace. While cooling, the Maltesers are carefully checked for any problems, like uneven sizes, chocolate coating, or defects in the malt center. If anything doesn't meet the standards, it's taken out and fixed. This check happens throughout the process to make sure only the best Maltesers make it to packaging. Quality control ensures that every bag you open has perfectly made treats with the same great taste and texture every time. The quality checks don't just look at size or shape. Maltesers are also checked to make sure the chocolate coating is shiny and smooth on every piece. This is important because people expect the same glossy finish every time. The chocolate is also checked for its snap, which shows it's the right texture. The final check makes sure everything about the Maltesers, taste, texture, and look, meets the high standards so you get the same great snack each time. Once the Maltesers pass the quality check, they're ready to be packaged and sent to stores. Before that, they're carefully stored to avoid any damage. The factory makes sure they're kept at the right temperature to stop them from melting or going bad. This way, when you open a bag of Maltesers, they're just as fresh and tasty as when they were first made. Once the Maltesers pass the quality check, they move to packaging. The first step is weighing them to make sure each bag has the right amount. It's not just about the quantity though. The bags also need to protect the Maltesers during transport. That's why the bags have extra space inside, so the Maltesers can move around without getting crushed. The bags are sealed tightly to keep the Maltesers fresh. Each bag is checked for any issues, like leaks or tears, that could affect the product. After sealing, they get labels with important details like expiration dates and batch numbers. The bags are also designed to catch the eye with bright, recognizable branding. Once packed, they're ready to be shipped to stores worldwide. Packaging not only protects the product, but also helps with the brand's sustainability efforts. Mars is working to reduce its environmental impact by using recyclable materials. The company plans to make all its packaging recyclable by 2025, which will help cut down on plastic waste. This commitment is part of Mars's larger goal to reduce its environmental footprint and support recycling. The bags are designed to be easy to recycle and reuse, keeping the future in mind. After being packaged, the Maltesers are ready to be sent out to stores. Before they get to the shelves though, they need to be delivered to customers quickly and efficiently. Once the bags of Maltesers are sealed and labeled, they're placed in large boxes for shipping. These boxes are sent to distribution centers, where they're sorted and prepared for delivery to stores. The goal is to get the Maltesers to stores quickly so they stay fresh. The shipping process uses trucks, trains, and ships to move the boxes from the factories to the warehouses. When the Maltesers reach regional warehouses, they're ready to be sent to local stores. Whether it's a small shop or a big supermarket, they need to be placed and displayed right so customers can find them. This involves working with retailers to make sure the products are in the right spots and displayed in a way that attracts shoppers. The distribution process is carefully planned to meet customer needs. Mars works with retailers and delivery partners to make sure the products are available when and where needed. Whether in stores or online, the goal is to make Maltesers easy to find. With Mars reaching over 100 countries, new markets are always opening up. Maltesers are popular for a few simple reasons. The mix of a crispy malt center and smooth milk chocolate creates a taste and texture that's hard to beat. It's light but still satisfying, making it the perfect snack for many situations. Whether you're enjoying a movie night or sharing with friends, Maltesers are a go-to treat for lots of people. Maltesers have stayed popular because they've always been consistent and high quality. From using the best ingredients to perfecting the coating and texture, Mars has maintained the same high standards for years. People know exactly what to expect with each bite, and that trust has kept Maltesers a favorite snack. The brand also keeps things fresh while staying true to what made it so loved, making it popular with new generations. Maltesers' focus on sustainability also helps keep them popular. With more attention on ethical sourcing, recyclable packaging, and taking care of the environment, Maltesers continue to grow in a way that appeals to today's mindful shoppers. This mix of tradition, quality, and smart practices has helped the product stay as loved as ever. In conclusion, Maltesers stay popular because of their great taste, texture, and consistency, along with the brand's focus on sustainability and quality. This combination has made them a favorite treat for chocolate lovers everywhere. Whether it's the crunchy center, smooth chocolate, or the fun of sharing, Maltesers keep bringing joy to snackers around the world. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Your thumb gets a workout, and we get the love. And if you haven't subscribed to the Process Powerhouse channel yet, seriously, what are you waiting for? A VIP invitation. Come on, hit that button. Got a factory process you're curious about? Drop it in the comments. We might just make it happen. No promises on a conveyor belt cameo,